This is an SM Media production. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media Scottish Women's Football Show. I'm Scotland Pike. It's an absolute pleasure as always to be your host. With no Suzanne Mulvey this week, she's unfortunately cancelled. Hopefully we'll be back next week, and she'll obviously be here with our recap on the end of season and the SWPL next week, which we're looking forward to. It's a real pleasure this week to have two very special guests connected from the same club again, who are obviously kind of deciding to call time on their spell at Dryburgh Athletic, but it's a real pleasure to finally get them both on the show. First of all, representing Dryburgh, it's a pleasure to welcome Laura Boag.
Hi Scott, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining me. And it is a pleasure as well to welcome one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, Chantelle McKay.
Hi Scott, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. As I say, it's good to get you both on. Obviously, it's been a really intriguing season. I want to get your thoughts on that a lot kind of later on. Laura, let's start first of all with kind of deciding to kind of call time on your spell at Dryburgh and things like. What was the kind of decision? Like, what was the reason that this was the right time?
I think there was a few factors really. Obviously, I'd been one of the originals there from the very start, so we're going back just over 6 years. There's been a lot of changes since, all for the better, I must say. A lot of young players. Obviously, we've been competing in the Championship for the past 2-3 seasons now. But yeah, from my point of view, I just felt it was time for me to move on, maybe seek a new challenge elsewhere. And that was the thoughts, really.
Chantelle, I'm going to kind of throw the same question to you. What was the kind of reason that this felt the right time to move on from Dryburgh?
Kind of just the same, really. There's been quite a few changes since we both obviously first started. I started back in 2019. So since then, there's been quite a lot of changes. Laura said for the good. They're trying to get the younger players in from the pathway and stuff. And I think it was just kind of my time to come away from that, let the younger players take the credit that they deserve, and me find a challenge somewhere else.
Laura, what's the club like? Obviously, you had said you've been there since the kind of start of it. Like, what pride do you take with the club, the kind of journey it's went on? Now it's a solid club in the Championship. Obviously, one of the best clubs, I've always said, in terms of the kind of community structure and that kind of level as well. The journey the club have went on, how proud are you to be a part of that?
Yeah, immensely proud. That's the right word to use. I think obviously I spoke to the chairman, the vice chairman. I've always had a good relationship with them throughout my whole time there. And like you say, to see how far the clubs came from the very beginning. I think the very first trial night, it was December 2017, because I remember it clearly. And to look back now to see that we've established in the Championship, to have reached 4 National Cup finals and really put the name of Dryburgh being a Dundee side on the map in Scotland. It's yeah, I'm really proud to have played my part in that over the years.
Chantelle, in terms of the kind of way the club, obviously, you've got the ladies obviously in the Championship, you've got the under-21s in the SWFL. There's a really good pathway in terms of the club. And I remember speaking to somebody just at the time you were kind of getting to the semi-final of the cup, and they'd said I think 6 out of 11 that played in that quarter-final started. They all came from the under-21s the season before, and that's quite a good statistic, and it's something that really intrigues me. I don't think there's many clubs that have that development.
No, definitely not. I was in that squad at one point, the younger squad, and then you come up. It's good to be part of the older squad, the ladies team. But it's good for them to come in during training and things like that, and they get to basically prove to themselves why they get to come along to training and things. And then if whatever, there could be a couple of times maybe we're short on players, girls are on holiday, things like that. These girls get to come in and be part of the team, which is good. Obviously, having that, what's it called? What's the word? Having the system in place of all these teams together. And like you say, 6 of the girls were in the quarterfinals, so it's good just to be part of that community club.
Laura, I remember last season, I think I might have had a conversation with you or sort of another player at the club, and you were talking about the start you had last season, and I'm pretty sure I think you had 1-1 and 13 or something at the start, and then you've just been us on this magnificent run, and you've ended up finishing the season really strongly, and you've obviously went on and built on that this season with another really good season, kind of finishing kind of top of the relegation, kind of the split as well. There just seems to be a real solid progression at the club in terms of on the park, and that change, like what was that change like last season when you had a really poor start? I don't think anybody would say you didn't, but you managed to build really, really well on that, and for there it's kind of only been looking up.
Yeah, I think last season was, like you say, it took a long time to. I don't think necessarily the games that we weren't getting the results in. I think we were playing all right, but for whatever reason, you know what it's like at any level of football. If you just need a win, and it was a long time coming, but yeah, you're right. We built on it, and then going into this season, I think we signed a couple of key players that really made a big difference, especially Stacey coming back to the club, and a couple of the younger players returning. We had Beth returning, and we had another ex-youth Dryburgh player coming back to the club, Clara Brady. So yeah, they really did help us kick on this season, and we were a lot more consistent, I would say, this year, and that showed. I think we were quite unlucky just to miss out on the top half of the table.
Chantelle, how do you look back at this kind of season in terms of the consistency? Like just looking as well, like no many goals conceded as well, a +12 goal difference. That must be good for you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say. I think most teams, when they come up against us, kind of put us across as like a stuffy team, but we're quite hard to break down. And that's come obviously from defence and myself, which I take obviously as a good credit. What was that, 12 goals? Yeah, that wouldn't let in. Was it 12 would let in this season?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a positive itself. And then just like Laura's touched on as well, like some of the girls coming back, having Stacey back, and then Beth rejoining as well, it just kind of brought the girls back together a bit. I think we were missing that at the start of last season, just being like a close-knit team. We were just needing like another few decent players in there to just bolster the squad a bit more, yeah.
Laura, what have you kind of thought about the level this season? Because Rossvale have obviously been very, very good. Ayr very consistent as well. East Fife have come down and done pretty well. I think the league this season has been as strong as I can remember it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been really competitive and it's been enjoyable as well. Like I think Dryburgh we've came of our own when we were playing in the games against the teams that all finished in the top 4 or 5. I think Rossvale was the only one this season that we didn't actually manage to take points off or beat, although we came very close in the cup final. But yeah, the league, the championship, I think is getting stronger every year. Shown by Ayr obviously having a chance to go up in the SPL2 this year. The only obviously negative point was what happened to Edinburgh City, which was a shame because there was a lot of good players there. But I guess these things happen in football sometimes. But I'm hoping to see a strong championship again next season.
Yeah, and Chantelle, that really catches the eye as well. Obviously, there are sides that are going to come up as well. I think the league next season, you've got Forfar coming up, Stenhouse Muir, you've got Falkirk, I think the other team. It's going to be another really strong league, and it just means that a lot more competitive. And on top of what it is just now, it's very, very good sign for that third level.
No, definitely. It's a good league to be part of. Like you're saying, it's really competitive. Everybody takes points off it. Everybody, you can't really call it, obviously, at the start of the season. We sat down as a team before the season started and made our own goals. And I don't think we achieved it in the position that we wanted to be in the league. But we did obviously put down that we wanted to reach another cup final, and we done that again. But yeah, I'm actually a bit gutted that I'm not going to be part of the league next season because with the 3 teams that are coming up, I think it'll be really exciting and it'll be good to see how they show what they're able to do in that league as well and see what happens.
You mentioned the cup final, Laura, and again, it was just the finest of margins. But again, I spoke about it at the time we did the show just before it, and we were speaking the credit you deserve for taking it all the way, and it was just obviously the luck was against you that day, but that whole occasion, and obviously you've had it in the past, like even the season before, Like, to get there 2 seasons in a row is a massive achievement. Like, how do you feel about it?
Well, 3 seasons in a row,
3
because we won it
seasons
the
in a
year
row.
before.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? It's great. Like, from a personal point of view, for me, like, kind of leading the team over the years, it's been amazing to be part of the days and the occasions. But I think more importantly for the girls that are there, gaining that kind of experience, playing when it's a big occasion and you've got the stadium there, and it's a totally different vibe to playing your normal standard league games, and even like the experience that you gain on when you go on a cup run and stuff like that. It's brilliant for the younger girls. And yeah, do you know what we done? We obviously won 3 years ago now, but the past 2 years it was fine margins, especially penalty kicks and then extra time. You couldn't really come much closer. But yeah, I'd love to see the club go back there in the future. Whether it's next year, I think that'll definitely be some kind of record if they do it again, but definitely in the future.
And Chantelle, as Laura correctly points out, no many teams will do it 3 seasons in a row, and I think it's some achievement as well. When again, is the one kind of thing as well. Obviously, like when you get to the final, like the year before, Edinburgh City had won it, and they'd obviously went on to have a really good spell, and before they come up, and obviously Rossvale this season, like you took 2 really good sides all the way, and I think that's another real bit of credit to you as well. That the both seasons, as it's probably the best team in the regions that have beat you.
No, definitely. I think going into both finals, I think everybody kind of had us as underdogs, especially against Rossvale. They had us as underdogs. We played them maybe 3-4 weeks prior to that, and I think we actually got beat 6-0. I wasn't playing that game, but I don't know if that was obviously part of the manager's tactics or not. Like, he changed the team up a little bit. But to go and obviously show them that we weren't the exact same team that played that day, and like made it that little bit more harder for them going into extra time, like you say. I actually thought that we maybe could have nipped it. We should have. We hit the post twice in the first half of the game, and then we come close to actually scoring the winner at the end of normal time. We hit the crossbar, and then the other goalkeeper made a really good save, which was kind of disappointing. But we went out, and I said to the girls at the end of the game, look, I know it's obviously upsetting that we've not won the game, but we need to remember we played them 3-4 weeks ago. We got beat, and we've come here today, and we've showed everybody that that wasn't the same team that played 3-4 weeks ago, and we proved to everybody that we are a good side. And I think we should have obviously won the game. I definitely think we were the better team on the day, but credit to obviously Rossvale for doing the double, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get obviously your thoughts and your kind of next steps in the game kind of later on, and we'll do a wee teammates quiz to wrap up the show. It was the penultimate weekend of the SWPL season, and we are going to get a really exciting title race. And we got obviously some big clues. We're recording this on Tuesday night. I'm hoping to get it out before 6 o'clock on Wednesday, so it will seem up to date. But Laura, I'll start with you. Celtic, all they need to do is win their next 2 games and they're champions, and they made a really good, consistent performance against Partick Thistle on Sunday. Gallagher, Agnew and Mengu with the goals, and they're within touching distance now. Celtic, all they need to do, they've got the 15-goal advantage, they're levelling points. All they need to do is see it out, and it's massive. It's a massive couple of games for the football club.
Yeah, definitely. I know we say it like that, it's easier said than done, win your last 2 games, because obviously Rangers are on their tails. But yeah, the game Sunday there against Partick, I think they went out and done, it was professional performance, they got the win. And obviously they'll be playing midweek, and then a big one on Sunday, I believe at Celtic Park. So I'm hoping they can get it over the line and win their first title. I think it'd be good for the women's game and good for football in this country in general.
And I know you were after the game, you were at the presentation on Sunday, and I actually spoke to a couple of people at the game and at the awards night, and they were very, very highly praiseworthy of Elena Sadiku, and I have just been so impressed with her. But she seemed to me to be very on her, like, do you know what I mean? She was on her feet. She was not looking that far ahead. She was just what I saw of the analysis which she had said about the game, and obviously what she had kind of said to Suzanne as well on Monday. There just seems to be a real kind of grounding at Celtic at the moment. They're not looking as far as the next game, and I think that is the the right way to go. And how impressed have you been with the side this season and the way they've conducted themselves? And I mean, they're close. They're so close.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think they had a slow start. I think there was a bit of, obviously they were unsettled when the manager left and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. Since Elena's come in, you've seen a difference. She's put her stamp on it. I've followed it closely, watched all her analysis and her interviews, and yeah, seen her on Sunday night there as well. They were, like you're saying, they were pretty grounded. It was just next game, 2 games to win, like you say, and hopefully they can do it. But yeah, it's good. It was refreshing to see another female head coach in the league as well, alongside the Rangers manager, who was obviously manager of the year. She's done fantastically well as well, so it's good to see.
What was the rank these 3 in terms of how much you cheered? Elena's statement, Larson getting his award, and Sutton's digging Kenny Miller. What was top? What was 1 to 3?
Oh, if you know me, Larson was first. You could probably hear it in my voice. I'm still a wee bit hoarse from singing for him.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of Celtic, obviously, Chantelle, they're nearly there. Rangers, I thought, one thing I've noticed with the games this season, particularly between the big 3, none of them have wanted to get beat, and it makes for quite cagey games, and I don't think it makes for the most compelling viewing. But I mean, if any goal was going to win that game, Rachel McLaughlin's goal on Sunday was absolutely tremendous. It kept Rangers in the hunt.
Yeah, I actually saw the goal. I watched it, and it was a good goal. Like you're saying, if anybody was going to score, it's going to have to be a screamer or a mistake. And she's took it well, to be fair, to keep them in the running. Which is credit to herself. I'm sure that's her old club, isn't it? Against Glasgow City. That's her old club, so that's credit to her for doing that. But it just makes it that little bit more exciting, obviously, come Sunday. Especially, I think Celtic have got the harder game on Sunday. They've got Rangers Celtic versus
Celtic play Hibs. Celtic play Hibs on Sunday, and Rangers play
Celtic
Thistle.
Hibs. Yeah. So I think Celtic have probably got the harder game on Sunday. But like you're saying, I think they're nearly there. I'm sure they can go out and do it.
How impressed have you been this season with the competitiveness of the league? Like Glasgow City, I think they've just kind of come up short too many times, and I don't think it's surprising when you look at like Rangers and Celtic have edged them out in the big games. Rangers and Celtic, though, they've just been so neck and neck. And again, I think it's important as well, Chantelle, all the games they've played against each other, they've been so hard to split.
Yeah, so we actually spoke about this last night. I think if Celtic and Rangers finished first and second, is that not the first time since 2008 we were saying it was that somebody different is obviously qualified for the Champions League?
Yeah.
So I think obviously it's good to see that it's someone different, but it's quite obviously upsetting, comes across obviously upsetting for Glasgow City to not be in that Champions League spot. But Celtic and Rangers have obviously put a lot of money into like the men's teams. They've got the men's back in and things like that. So it's what they've got to go out and obviously do. The other like side of the league, it's been good to see like Hibs, Partick Thistle, Hearts obviously stay up in the top 6. I feel like I enjoy watching them. If I ever have like spare time on a Sunday or that after our game, before our game, I actually really enjoy watching teams like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been a really, really good advert for the league this season as well. Like Hearts, Hibs, Partick Thistle, they've all given really a good account of themselves. And even like Motherwell and Aberdeen as well, been really, really solid. And like Montrose and Spartans, they've done really well. Like Montrose, we'll touch on it later on. Laura, Hamilton and Dundee United, I mean, they're giving a good attempt to make it just as exciting at the other end of the table. They've both got 2 games left as well. Dundee United and Hamilton both away. I think it'll be a struggle to see them both getting anything from their games, but it's all going to that final game. In terms of Hamilton have got the 1 goal advantage, so that's going to be a lot more tighter. And that again, it could just come down to who holds their nerve more. And because they're both going to be in some sort of relegation battle. One goes down automatic, one's going to get into the playoff against either Kilmarnock or Livingston. And out the 2, Hamilton and United, it's really tough to call.
It is. When I've seen them playing this season, it's so close. I think, again, at times there's been, both of the clubs have put in a few performances and not really got the rewards from it for whatever reason. but it's quite incredible, really, how close it is at the bottom. Just one goal between it. I was looking at the fixtures there, and I think Motherwell will have a big say on who goes down automatically, as they've both got to play Motherwell, who have been playing really well recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, being local and from Dundee, obviously, I'd like to see Dundee United stay up. It's good. It's good for the city, and it's good to keep good players here. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a big ask for them.
I think obviously Chantelle seeing Dundee United. I mean, they went 1-0 up against Montrose, and you thought, right, they're going to get there. They were in at half time 1-0 up. It went 1-1, and then Georgia Carter last minute for Montrose, just a complete body blow for them. And I think you could just tell. I saw the highlights and I saw a couple of interviews after the game. You could just tell that sucked the life out of Dundee United.
Yeah, I've obviously been on the receiving end of that a couple of times, last minute goals scored against you. So obviously it's disappointing, but I think Montrose have actually done well for themselves this season. Obviously, a lot of people wrote them off at the start of the season thinking that they were just going to come straight back down. But I know like a couple of the girls have we've obviously got somebody, well, Clara Brady, not long, she signed from Montrose, and she said that the manager's really good. I think a lot of the girls have taken to him well, and he's done well. But yeah, it's obviously just a bit gutting for Dundee United to lose out to even just that 1 point. That 1 point would have put them above Hamilton, and would have made it a bit more less nervy for them come the last couple of games. But I think these last couple of games, if I was their manager, I would just be making sure that nobody was scoring against them. Because like you say, I don't think anybody's going to be picking up points from these two games. So I would just be defending as much as I could for the 90 minutes, not letting as many goals. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. In the SWPL 2, obviously, that's going to go to the final day. Queen's Park, obviously, out of sight and won the league. Kilmarnock are a point clear of Livingston getting into the final game. Kilmarnock just need to avoid defeat away to Boroughmuir. Well, obviously, winning they're at their second. Livingston obviously have to beat Queen's Park. Laura, in terms of, I'll obviously go to Livingston because obviously they're a side that's come up for your league last season. Are you surprised they've kicked on the way they have?
In a way, yeah, because I think there was a few managerial changes as well there. But it's obviously credit to the guys that have came in, and also the players as well. It's encouraging to see a team from the Championship come up and kick on as much as they have. So yeah, it'd be really good to see Livingston do well. I think in Kilmarnock's hands, as you said, with Livingston, the last fixture being against the league winners, Queen's Park. So yeah, it'll be tough, but I mean, I think Livingston could be proud of their efforts for taking it to the last day.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the other end of the table, Chantelle, obviously, it was confirmed that Glasgow women, even though they won 4-1, they will face Ayr United in the playoff for SWPL 2. In terms of Ayr United this season, it'd be really tough for Glasgow women if they went down back-to-back years and went out the SWPL altogether. But I really think this Ayr United team are more than capable of getting a result against them.
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing stopping Ayr from going out on that Friday night and beating Queen's. No, who is it they're playing? Glasgow. Yeah, there's nothing stopping them from going out to beat Glasgow, I don't think. We've come up against them, obviously. We came up against them in the semi-final. We beat them. But I think they're a lot older, experienced girls in there that can obviously carry the team over the line. They're a really good team. They come across well. The manager's very well spoken as well. So I don't think there's anything stopping them from winning that game. And I'd actually really like to see them win it. They deserve it. Obviously, we beat them in the semi-final, which was obviously upsetting for them. But I feel like this is something that they deserve. They're a good squad, and they play well, really well, to be honest.
Laura, what's your thoughts on the kind of playoff as a whole? Obviously, you've got the Glasgow women against Ayr United, like Ayr again, what we kind of said. I think Ayr, in terms of the balance they have, like again, kind of doing the kind of looking at the kind of teams over the season, Ayr have always struck me as very, very hard to beat, and I think Glasgow women, they lose a lot of goals. I just give the edge to Ayr.
Yeah, exactly that. I would say the same. I think what you touched on as well, when sadly Glasgow women have maybe been on a bit of a downward spiral over the past couple of years, and it's difficult for it not to play on your mind going into a game when the pressure's kind of on you. You don't want the team from the league below to be taking advantage. So, I mean, it'll be difficult for them. I hope it's a good game. But, yeah, as Chantelle said, Ayr are more than capable in terms of they've got a good blend in their squad in terms of experience and younger players. And they've worked hard. They've been consistent all season to get that second place spot. So they deserve their chance at it, and I hope they do well.
Chantelle, in terms of obviously kind of looking at the side of kind of goalkeepers as well, look, there's a lot of really talented goalkeepers come through this season. Like, I really kind of doing the team of the seasons at all leagues was really hard to look. They've been so good this season. Like, there's a lot. The standard, I think, is as high as it's ever been.
Is that across all leagues? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, no, definitely. I agree with you. Definitely. Obviously, I follow Celtic, and the goalkeeper that they've got in. I'm sure she was part of your team of the year, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Chelsea
she was,
Doherty, yeah. Yeah, she's done away really good for herself. And then coming down the leagues as well. I've not really seen much, obviously, SWPL 2 goalkeepers, but when we watch the highlights on a Monday night, Charlotte Parker Smith, yeah, she's a really good goalkeeper herself. I actually used to play with her back in, must have been about 10 years ago now. I used to play alongside her, and now to watch her doing well in that league, I actually am surprised none of the top three have actually came in for her and taken her off of Hearts, to be honest, because she's really, really good and she would do well, I think, for one of the big top three teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we'll get into obviously talking about your kind of journeys in the game before we kind of move on to the teammates quiz. Laura, what's next? Like, where do you kind of see yourself? Is there anything in place already for next season? Like, what's your kind of thoughts going into the next campaign?
To be honest, I finished the end of the season there with a couple of wee niggles. I'm obviously not getting any younger, so I'm planning on a wee break over the summer, enjoy the holidays, and then there's a couple of options. There's a couple of offers came up to go and continue playing, obviously at a lower level, or to just go straight into the coaching. So we'll have a wee think about it and see how I feel after the break. But I mean, I think the majority of the advice that I've had is keep playing, play as long as you can, because you'll regret it maybe in 10 years' time, or you'll miss it when you stop playing. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure yet, but they'll make a decision in the next couple of months.
Yeah, and Chantelle, what about yourself? Obviously, like, is there already a plan for where you're going to play next season?
No, there's not one in place for sure yet, but obviously, like Laura's saying, a couple of offers have come in, but we've kind of just like brushed it aside at the moment. We've not long, obviously, 2 weeks ago was the last time we stopped the game, so I'm kind of just wanting to enjoy the summer, enjoy the break, and then I'll obviously make a decision after that if I want to go back and play. I kind of already do miss it, but yeah, I just need to get back into the gym and focus on that first before I do decide what I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to, before we do, it's going to be Scott's shout out next week, not this week, as Suzanne's obviously not here. So she has given me the person to shout out. But we've got a wee teammates quiz for you now. Usually we just do this in terms of the season, but in terms of your whole time at Dryburgh and kind of players you've played with in your career, I want to do this across your whole time. So you can both answer this together. Like, I'll just put you in the spot. You can obviously debate amongst each other. Who's the best trainer you've ever played with?
Clara Brady.
I would agree in terms of Dryburgh, because absolutely won't even get beat at a warm up. But I mean, I've had a few over the years. Like I'll give Kerry Dixon a mention here, because I've seen she's up for a nomination for a Player of the Year in the SWPL. Yeah, going back, great trainer as well.
Worst trainer?
Can you say yourself?
Or you can say each other, aye?
I think we would. I think we absolutely would. Nah, can't tell definitely. I think that would be a wee bit harsh on me.
We always have a joke at the end of training sessions and say who was the best trainer, and yeah, it's never Laura, so it's probably she's the worst trainer.
Who's the most skillful player you've ever played with?
I would say Megan Robb, but Megan Robb.
I think it'd be a toss up between Meg and maybe Stacey, that's in charge just now. She's normally got people falling over their feet at training.
Who's the funniest person you've ever played with?
I don't know.
I
Sam,
would
who's
have to
it?
say Megan Robb as well.
Yeah, probably Meg.
I wouldn't let out her secrets because I know where she's playing just now. But yeah, if I had to tell some of her secrets from her Dryburgh days, yeah, I don't think she would be too happy.
Who's got the best music taste?
Oh, best music.
Well, I was DJ at Dryburgh
I was going to say you actually.
Yeah, I was DJ at Dryburgh for 5 years, and then the past couple of months, because I knew that I was leaving, I kind of brushed it off and let the younger ones take on, and I think that's where my sore head's come for the past 3 months.
In terms of who's most likely to get into an argument with a referee, most temperamental?
This is actually quite controversial, but it's Clara Brady, definitely, because she's a referee herself, and if something ever happens, she decides to think that she's right no matter what. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say Clara Brady.
Laura, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I probably would. It used to be me, but it's not anymore. So I'm glad I don't take that one.
Who's the quickest and who's the slowest?
Quickest. There's been loads over the years. You forget all these players.
The quickest player I've probably ever played with is Alma, who's currently at Montrose.
Right, okay.
You wanted to be on her team if you were either doing sprints or you were in a possession drill. You wanted to be on her team because if you weren't on her team during a possession drill, she was standing on top of your ankles. I don't actually think she's got any breaks. I don't think she knew how to stop when she was running, to be honest.
Brilliant. Laura,
Can't tell you who the slowest was. I'll take that one.
Laura, who you got?
Yeah, I got to get Alma's got to be up there. She's one of the fastest thing on two legs I've ever seen, I think. But going back years ago, player I used to play with Emma Stewart, she was fast, very fast, but she was a runner. And probably when I played in the boys' team, she couldn't get near any of them.
Right, second last question. Who's most likely that you've played with in all your spells to be a manager?
I think if I don't say Laura, then I don't think she'll be too happy. So, yeah, no, I know it's something that she's obviously looking into. She's like just started doing her coaching badges and stuff, and she does come across really well. She does speak well. She knows what she's talking about. She's Celtic through and through, so I think she's actually following Elena and hoping that one day that's kind of her. So yeah, I've got to obviously say Laura.
Laura, you can say yourself.
Cheers for that, Shan. That's a good shout. Oh, I think she's pretty much nailed it, yeah. But there's been a few players I've played for over the years. Mel Gormley played well for Dryburgh. She's recently signed for Arbroath. Mel knows her stuff, and I think she could be a manager one day.
Brilliant. And final question: who's the best player you've ever played with?
The best player I ever played was my best pal growing up. She had to retire for injuries about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but she's got herself back playing recreational football now for Motherwell, where she's absolutely sweeping up, top goal scorer, winning all the awards. So a wee shout out to Kat Gallagher, represented Scotland at youth level all the way up. So yeah, that was the best player I ever played with.
Chantelle, who's yours?
I've got a couple from my Forfar days, but I coming through the ranks at Forfar, I kind of looked up to Fiona McNichol. She done really well for herself at her spell at Forfar, so I would have to say Fiona. I actually followed her when she still went to Dundee United, and I think she done really well in that league for obviously being one of the most experienced players in that league. She done really well, and I enjoy watching her, and I kind of looked up to her a lot when I was back in my Forfar days.
Brilliant. Well, that's been really, really good, obviously, to get that kind of wee bit of in-depth knowledge there in terms of your teammates over your career. We've just got time for Suzanne's shout out, and she has told me this week that she would like to put forward Kazi Cowper of Montrose, obviously, like the fact that Should said the fact that obviously Montrose have avoided the relegation and just how solid they've been in the top flight. They've been really, really impressive this season, and Cassie's obviously been very instrumental in being an experienced player, leading them at the back, and she's obviously had a really good time in her career, obviously done really well at Dundee United, has obviously played at a high level as well, so that is Suzanne's shout out for the week. And just a final part before we wrap up, Laura, Chantelle, I'm asking you both. I know the answer, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Who's going to win the title, Celtic or Rangers? Laura, go first. It's easy, isn't it? It's easy. We'll be seeing if we're saying that this time next week. We will have a final episode of the season next week where me and Suzanne will obviously recap all the action as the title race comes to an end. All that's left for me to do now is thank our two magnificent guests this week. First of all, Laura Boag, thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Cheers for having us.
It's been a pleasure. And to Chantelle McKay, thank you very much. And to both of you, all the best in going forward.
Thanks, Scott. Take care.
So thank you very much indeed, folks. And
Cheers.
we'll see you all next week. Thank you.